What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Some more Birthright domain reviews as we are on to the non-political domains here for the Eastern Marches. Really getting towards the end of our review series here for the core domains of Annuir, the core setting of the Birthright setting here. So today we're going to take a look at Moradin's Forge, and really two of the three in the other domain section here that we're given the sort of full description for actually will relate to Baruk-Azhik. So again, if you're playing that domain or in and around there as far as adventures go, you're going to encounter at some point possibly, and also depending on whether you have dwarves or not in the party, stuff like that. Moradin's Forge, so again the main church here for the dwarves. So certainly an interesting campaign would be if one player is running Baruk-Azhik as the country, Moradin's Forge as well, and then also the Royal Guild of Baruk-Azhik. So there's just lots of interesting possibilities here. So anyway, Moradin's Forge, if you're a dwarven priest, obviously this is the domain for you then. Lawful good, recommended, and again, as it says here, basically all dwarves will worship Moradin, so nice and simple, right? At least as their primary god. So okay amount of regency accumulated, and again, solid amount of treasury here. 28 gold bars is a lot more than some of the other countries that you can start with, and this is again just being as a church. And really, again, you're not really having to worry about other deities necessarily competing for your followers' faith. So pretty simple in that regard as far as collecting donations. So Regent here is also pretty powerful too. So Ruark Rockhammer is a level 11 priest to start with, which is pretty solid and really great bloodline as well. So he is the High Priest of Moradin's Forge. He has held this position for 200 years, inherited from his mother, and is always seeking the best for the dwarf nations according to Moradin's will, though he does tend to instinctively distrust those who don't follow Moradin. Again, kind of tacking on from what we've seen with the description of Baruk-Azhik as a nation as well. So again, go reference all of that. We're not going to dive into that too much again here, but again, dwarves in the setting, just to be super brief, right? Sort of very, or not sort of, but very much fighting a very real sort of battle for survival against the Orog hordes, the numberless Orog hordes that they're fighting underground for the most part. So description-wise, Annuirians know very little about the dwarven religion, including Moradin's Forge. As a side note here too, when we get to reviewing the Birthright domain source books, again, Baruk-Azhik is one of those, so that will also give us a little bit more insight into Moradin's Forge and the Royal Guild as well. So its churches are confined to the dwarves' fortress cities, though shrines located throughout the dwarf lands provide solace for those who know where to look. Moradin's Forge also has holdings in Mor-Kalad, although super secret, right? The High Priest does believe in trying to convert those dwarves before the Grim Greybeard's armies try to kill them. These temples remain well hidden, even more so than most dwarven temples, for the Gorgon certainly also wants no independent thought or outside interference in his puppet kingdoms, basically. So, an interesting church to play as, again, in contrast to pretty much all the other Annuirian ones, because you're not, if it's a Church of Halen, you're not having to deal with any of the other sects and sort of that religious infighting there, and any of the other deities, again, you're not having to compete with, in most cases, followers of Halen, which is just pretty much prevalent all over the place. So again, the dwarves have it nice and easy as far as that goes. It's just what, expansion is going to be a little bit limited in those regards, but if you're going to be trying to expand, it would really be trying to do that via Mor-Kalad, as the description goes here. But again, too much of that will certainly, I think, increasingly draw the Gorgon's attention and likely ire at some point, and that could be a bad thing for the dwarves in so many different regards, right? So that being said, you might try to, as part of the political domain, their overall goals, possibly looking for some of the other smaller dwarven nations that are scattered throughout the rest of the Birthright setting. And again, we'll eventually get to those in due time, but maybe forging some relations there and seeing if you can spread your church's influence via that regard. Other than that, maybe just increasing more shrines in some of the Annuirian lands as sort of trade relations open up a little bit more, maybe some greater outside travel, and again, just sort of spreading out of the dwarves can continue via these trade relations. So again, doesn't seem, at least at the outset, that Baruk-Azhik is going to be like a domain where you really want to start engaging in conquering lands above ground. It's more dealing with everything that's going on underneath ground as you're fighting for survival versus the Orogs. But nonetheless, a very nice complementary position to play if you're having to play a campaign where the focus is really on Baruk-Azhik as the political domain, but also adventuring in here. So certainly, if you're starting off as a dwarven priest via Moradin's Forge, and you got some other dwarves in the party, things like that, could be an interesting experience there. But also, if you have other non-humans maybe in the party, and finding a reason why you as a dwarven priest are sort of adventuring outside, but also with non-dwarves, that could lead for some interesting contrasts with some of the other folks who in your party who will certainly worship other deities in the setting. So especially again if they are not dwarves. So lots of interesting possibilities here. Again, seems like solid income, solid RP Regency points for whatever you need to spend. So I think overall you're in a pretty solid spot, and certainly you can draw on resources via the guild, but also the political domain as well, since everyone's kind of in alignment there as to the working towards the benefit of the dwarves. So let's put it that way. So overall, fun one, nice and easy. Again, very nice to complement in a setting, in a campaign that's focusing around Baruk-Azhik. So let us know in the comments, guys, if you have tried out Moradin's Forge and in what kind of format, whether again it's running Birthright as the the campaign setting as far as, again, running realms, as in, what we're specifically looking at here, or just if you happen to adventure in and around Baruk-Azhik, or somehow another way been a part of the Dwarven faith here, and how that's played out in your adventuring party. So love to know about that from you guys. Leave us a like and a subscribe, comment as well, and we will see you in the next one. We'll be moving on to the Royal Guild of Baruk-Azhik, and then finally wrapping things up with the second Swamp Mage. So hope you guys enjoyed. We will see you in the next one. Take care.